Divorce Sisters episode 8 was wild. Tyler Perry a fool for this one right here, okay? It was so good. It was like the perfect mid-season finale in my opinion. But before I get into this recap, let me introduce myself. My name is Brandi, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me, and I really do appreciate that. So go ahead and like this video, and also subscribe to my channel if you do like watching TV show reviews and also movie reviews. So does anybody know when we're going to see episode 9? I know this is the mid-season finale, so are we gonna have to wait a month, 2, 3 months? I really need to know the date because this episode was fire right here, okay? And that cliffhanger at the end, oh my god. But let me start at the beginning, right? So this episode picks up with Rashida responding to Naomi after seeing the camera footage of Myron talking about Pastor Jeff in a loving way. So Rashida says to Naomi, like, are you happy now? You really wanted to hurt me with this one, right? And Rashida talks to the other ladies in the room, like, do you believe this? Like, do you guys believe that Pastor Jeff is having an affair with Myron? In essence, that's what she was asking him, right? So Bridget was like, no, that's our pastor. He would never. But Tiff was like, well, it's been some rumors around town that those two are pretty close. Tiff, she just got a big mouth. She's such a nosy lady. Like, how do you know what's going on all around town? Like, I have no idea what's going on in my city. But anyway, right? So then she asked Geneva, like, what did Geneva think? Geneva was like, no, I don't think anything is up, right? Then Rashida goes on to say, well, you know, rumors, I could either do like one or two things. I could address it or just let it fly, right? So she decided to face it head on. So Rashida called Pastor Jeff and Myron into the house, right? Mind you, they were just right outside. So they came into the house and Naomi played the camera footage for Pastor Jeff. So everybody was just sitting there shocked and all looking at the camera footage, right? Myron looked like he wanted to piss in his pants for real, right? So when the video stops, Pastor Jeff is like, Myron, were you talking about me on that phone call? You know, and Myron's kind of stuttering and like, you know, well, I was talking to my wife and, you know, he's just trying to come up with an excuse that's making no sense. But Geneva, and I'm so glad she asked this, she was like, Myron, who were you talking to? Because that's what I really want to know, right? Who the hell is Myron talking to on that damn phone, right? I even said that in my last review, like, I really need to know who he's talking to because he's up to something, right? I think it's bigger than him just being in love with Pastor Jeff. But let me try to stay on track here, right? So Myron goes on to say he was talking to his wife. Naomi cussing Myron out, like, that don't make no damn sense. You talking to your wife about Pastor Jeff? Like, come on, that's not making any sense. And Naomi's like, Rashida, you just falling for this? Like, you with the okie doke, right? But Rashida, she's sticking beside her man. You know, she's doing the right thing too in that moment. Don't get me wrong, right? But then Naomi decides to ask blatantly, like, she like, I got this, y'all. Let me just ask him straight up. And she says, how long have y'all been hunching, right? And Pastor Jeff was like, we aren't, you evil devil, right? So this scene was kind of funny, although it was very dramatic as well. But I was so tickled by this scene. And Pastor Jeff, he clears the air right then and there. He says, for the record, I am not gay. I am not bi. I love women. And I love this woman right here, referring to Rashida, right? And he told Myron, like, this will never be a thing. Like, me and you would never be together in this lifetime or the next lifetime, right? And he tells Myron, like, listen, you know, I'm going to ride back to the church with my wife and you need to ride back with the ladies to the church, right? So then they part ways. Rashida goes with Pastor Jeff, but Rashida wasn't exactly done yet. Let me back up a little bit, right? Rashida turns to Naomi and say, one more thing. I am done with you. I'm not going to keep letting you abuse us like this, right? You think you could just talk to me any kind of way just because that's the way Franklin used to talk to me? I am done. I tried to help you, but now I'm washing my hands with you, right? So again, I'm on Rashida's side. I'm usually on Rashida's side like 8 out of 10 times, right? So that's my favorite character, by the way. So the crew is about to separate and go their own ways. Like Pastor Jeff is going to ride with Rashida. The girls are going to ride with Myron, but I believe Myron decided to call like a car ride instead, like an Uber. But I forgot to mention one detail that might be important in future episodes. Pastor Jeff mentioned that he got an email that said, somebody that you're very close to is in love with you. And it came from an email address that he didn't recognize and he didn't know what the email is about. But they get kind of crazy emails all the time anyway. But Geneva did volunteer to track the IP address to try to find out who sent that email, okay? But before we go on to the next scene, I just want to say one thing. Why didn't anybody just try to check Myron's phone? Like when Geneva asked, like, Myron, who were you talking to, right? I just feel like that was the right time for, if Myron, if you want to come clean, show us your phone. Show us that was your wife that you were talking to. Like, let us know. Like, I'm just surprised nobody said, oh, Myron, can we see your phone? You know, you ain't have to get violent or try to grab it out of his hand, but ask him and just see what happens then, right? But I still stand on my opinion that Pastor Jeff is not gay. I really think it's one-sided. I think Myron is delusional. And I just don't know what Myron is up to. And I couldn't figure it out by the end of this episode either, okay? So moving right along, Rashida and Jeff are riding back to the church. Now, I love this scene. Now, this scene was just a bit long, but I love the way Rashida and Pastor Jeff were cracking jokes in the car, right? I love to see them laughing and not so stressed out and arguing, right? So Rashida tells Pastor Jeff, like, you are so naive. Like, I've been telling you for years that Myron, you know, he adores you. He really loves you, right? And Pastor Jeff is like, really? Really? I had no idea. You know, I didn't even look at it like that. And Pastor Jeff mentions that, you know, they might have to fire Myron in the future, okay? But as it left off in that scene where Myron was with them, he just told Myron, I'll see you tomorrow at work, you know, and we'll talk about it then, right? But Rashida goes on to tell Pastor Jeff, like, listen, we can't just fire him like that. Like people get lawsuit happy. He might sue us for something. Like, we gotta play this smart, right? Which I always love that Rashida just tries to be so level-headed and so logical. But anyway, after they were done with a bunch of butt jokes, right, and having all of their fun, Rashida got pretty serious and she switched the topic onto their teenage son. She told Pastor Jeff, like, listen, I want him to take a drug test. She had a pea cup right with her. She said she thinks something is going on and she needs Pastor Jeff to put his foot down with their son. She said, I need you to cuss him out. I need him to have some fear of you because you have these conversations with our son, but you have these nice conversations. They're very friendly. No, I need you to cuss him out, right? So they left off that conversation with Pastor Jeff saying that he would have a conversation with his teenage son and just try to get him back on track. But hopefully this young man is not doing drugs. But we see it so often, right? That on television shows and sometimes in real life that the pastor kids sometimes just be off the hook.
Just give me the money. No, don't make me hurt you. Just give me the money. No.
Now, meanwhile, back at Naomi's crib, she gets served with some papers that Franklin is suing her for assaulting his wife. Remember the night before she threw the hot cup of coffee? Not hot cup of coffee, but the hot pot of coffee on his wife, Lindsay. So Franklin is suing her. And Geneva was right there. Geneva was a little bit upset. Like, yo, I told you, like, this is crazy. He is suing her for $50 million, right? She only got $37 million in the settlement, right? Plus the property. She got a few other things as well. But she was saying, like, everything she got totals to about $50 million. So Franklin is trying to take back everything that he actually gave her in the settlement. So then we see Bridget and Tiffany, they're riding back to the church and they're talking about Naomi, how she's getting worse and worse, right? And they also mention that Naomi could be broke after this lawsuit. Like, Naomi hasn't worked since her and Franklin met. So this woman, she might not know how to move, right? She's been a rich woman, a kept woman for many, many years because I believe their kid is like a teenager, a young adult actually. So she hasn't worked in that many years. And that's why it is just so scary to just fully rely on a guy, because once you're out of that situation, and you don't know how to move financially, that is scary. Like, she could lose her house, she could lose everything. You also find out in that car ride with Bridget and Tiffany that Tiffany pays her ex $600 monthly in alimony, right? I just can't wait to hear more about Tiffany's situation with her ex too. But I need Tiffany to wisen up, right? Because on one of the next scenes, you see that Javon calls her up and he says to her, like, two things he says to her, right? He says, one, he wants to put an offer on a house right next door to Geneva, right? Mind you, Tiffany is a realtor. She showed him the house that's for rent right next door to Geneva. So he goes ahead and said, hey, let's put a offer on that house. I want to live there, tired of living in a hotel. And then he says something like, yeah, because if I don't get that house, I'm gonna have to move with you. I can't stand when people joke around like that. Like, what you mean you gonna have to live with me, right? But anyways, then he goes on to say that he wants to go away to Italy. He wants himself and Tiffany to go with Geneva and William to their planned trip to Italy. Oh my God. Javon is a stalker. I am not with it. I do not like him. I cannot stand him actually now, right? So he wants to move next door to Geneva. And now he wants to go on their couples trip, like with Geneva and her husband. Now you want to tag along and go to Italy with them? You are crazy, Javon, and you need to fall back. And I need William to smarten up and start peeping game, because William, he still seems to be very naive and clueless and just not picking up on it. But anyway, right, Tiffany, she's giggling a little bit, but she's getting kind of serious with him too. Like, don't you think that's a little bit soon to go to Italy? Like, I'm supposed to watch Geneva and William's daughter Anika while they're in Italy, so I don't know if I'm gonna go, right? But they end off the call. She seems like she's gonna go, and then she calls Rashida though to ask Rashida's opinion, and then Rashida's like, and she tried to do it in a smooth way, because Rashida just smooth in everything she do, right? She like, well, aren't you supposed to watch Anika? How you gonna go to Italy when you're supposed to be babysitting for them, right? Tiff is like, yeah, that's right, but I'm figuring that you could watch Anika. And Rashida like, no, you told her that you watching her, so you need to watch Anika, right? And then Tiff just asked her opinion on the situation, and Rashida was like, I just think it's too soon, Tiff. Like, you're moving too fast. I don't think you should go to Italy with him. And then Tiffany was like, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to go. I'm going to tell him at dinner tonight that I'm not going to go to Italy with him. And then that conversation ends off. Now, Naomi done went up to the hospital to see Franklin and his wife that she assaulted. Oh my gosh, he goes up there and she is taunting Franklin. She's 100% wrong. She has these weird flowers, some black flowers in her hand, and like, oh, I just came to give her flowers. How is she doing? And then Franklin is like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I just came to see if I was able to turn your white bee brown. Because she threw the brown coffee on her. I'm like, oh my God, Naomi, again, just she's off the hook, right? And she was again taunting Franklin. And what she was trying to do, in essence, was trying to get Franklin to assault her. Like, she was trying to get him to hit her. She was like, oh, hit me, right? So she acting all ratchet, acting off the hook. She was actually acting like a little girl, in my opinion. Like, girl, I just don't expect somebody, you know, with that much bread and that much age and wisdom just to be acting like that for real. Like, she was just belligerent. At that point, she seemed even worse than Franklin. But anyway, the nurse came in there, was trying to get Naomi out of there. And Naomi ended up throwing the weird black flowers onto Lindsay's back. Mind you, the nurse just told Naomi, like, Lindsay has open wounds that could easily be infected. And Naomi still proceeds to throw the flowers on the back. Like, oh my gosh. Like, she asking for it again. She is asking to go to jail. So she calls Hakeem up and she tells Hakeem to meet her at the bank, right? And he's like, what bank? She's like, you know the bank because you saw my bank statements. Like, she really showed this guy her bank statements to prove that she has the $1 million to hire him to kill both Franklin and his wife, Lindsay, right? So then Hakeem meets her at the bank, right? I don't like calling him Hakeem, though. I like calling him Doc, because that's Doc from All the Queen's Men. But anyway, sidebar, at the time of me filming this video, right? It's Thursday right now. They have not uploaded All the Queen's Men. Oh my God, what's up with that? It was supposed to come out at 12 a.m. But anyway, that's another story. So Doc from All the Queen's Men, he meets Naomi at the bank and she shows him her safety deposit box, right? With $1 million in it, right? They get into an argument because Hakeem is like, Doc is like, yo, I need at least 10 racks. Like, can you give me $10,000 before I even start on this mission? Like, you're asking me to kill 2 people and you don't want to give me nothing. You just want to show me the money, which is so dumb. Like, Naomi, that's usually how it goes when you hire a hitman. You got to pay some kind of deposit, right? So now this man done seen all of her bread, right? Which was also just a dumb move because it's so many cameras in the bank, right? She had witnesses. Somebody has to walk you into your safety deposit box, right? It was 2 people that walked her in. And again, just all of the cameras, and you're hiring this guy to kill your husband. Like, make it make sense, Naomi, because it really's not looking good for you. And it's looking like you just want to go to jail. You really want to go to jail so bad, Naomi. But anyway, they get into an argument. He storms off and says he ain't doing shit, right? And Naomi is just, she's just cussing him out, and he leaves, right? I forgot to mention too that she had already ran a background check on him. So she was reading him down his rap sheet, like, yeah, you were in jail for assault, attempted murder, you're on probation right now. Like, I know your number. But anyway, she was just trying too hard to piss him off, and it worked, right? I don't even see how you're gonna try to hire somebody and don't put down a deposit on this. Like, come on, girl. And Naomi seems so street smart, like she should know that, but I guess she's not street smart because, again, why is Hakeem even in the safety deposit box with you? I don't get it. So now we see Myron talking to Pastor Jeff in Pastor Jeff's office, right? Myron had went into the church just to get his boxes and start packing his stuff because he is just so convinced that Pastor Jeff is is going to fire him. Although Bridget told him, like, I don't think so. Just come to work the next day. But anyway, he's talking to Pastor Jeff. Pastor Jeff reinforced to him, like, listen, I'm not gay. Whatever you're thinking in your head is never going to happen in this lifetime, in the next lifetime. Like, buddy, it ain't going down, okay? So, and then Pastor Jeff, he asked him again, like, who were you talking to, right? And so Myron says, well, I was just talking to a friend. And Pastor Jeff was like, was it a man? Was it a woman? And he says, it was a guy. And Pastor Jeff was like, well, is it somebody that goes to the church? And he was like, yeah, it's somebody that goes to the church. And they actually planted this idea in my head, like that you like me, And then Pastor Jeff, he didn't really press the issue, though. Again, I'm just confused why nobody's asking to see Myron's phone. So now we're getting to the real tea of episode 8, okay? Geneva's part. Oh, my gosh. So Geneva is home. Her husband, William, he calls her in the kitchen, says, I have a surprise for you. And she's walking in the kitchen and she sees Javon in there making a steak. Like, what? William again. Like, William just don't got it all, right? So Javon is flirting with Geneva right in front of William. And William, again, is just not picking up on it, right? Not William. Javon is like, oh, Geneva, try this steak. And she's like, oh, no, it's fine. I'll just eat it later for dinner. And he was like, oh, but if you eat it for dinner, I won't get to see your beautiful face as you bite on this meat. Like, he's talking kind of flirty and sexual to her, right? But he's talking in code, but I still don't understand why William is not clocking it, right? So then we hear a scream, and it's Anika. Anika is out in the yard with the nanny, right? And they come running in, Anika and the nanny, and we find out that Anika, she got hurt. She fell off of the swing, okay? So they're coming in, the nanny's holding her, right? And then they all rush to the hospital. Javon, he's still with them, right? And then we see Tiffany walk in, right? Because Javon said that he called Tiffany, I guess because they planned on having a dinner date, right? So he just told Tiffany to come to the hospital. Tiffany's trying to find out what happened, but Geneva is still just giving her the cold shoulder. Like, yo, we're good. Can you guys just please leave? Like, we need family time. And I really was feeling Geneva on that too. Like, come on, let me focus on my daughter. Like, I can't be filling you in when I don't even really know what's going on. Because at that point, all we know is that they had to do a CT scan on 5-year-old Anika, right? So they're in a serious situation. Like, I can't sit here and be talking to you, filling you in, and I don't even know what's going on. Tiffany, go home. But then the doctor comes out, right, to give them an update. And the doctor says, Geneva, you need to come with me. Like, we need to do a blood transfusion. So I need to get your blood. And William was like, no, she can't do it. She hates needles. Let me do it. Let me be the one to do the blood transfusion, right? And then the doctor, she's very hesitant. She's still trying to get Geneva to come along with her alone, right? Because the doctor clocked it. The doctor know what's up, right? So then William is pressing the issue, which I'm happy he is. I'm really happy he was pressing it, right? So the doctor is like, well, Anika, she's AB blood type, and we need somebody with, AB blood to do the transfusion, right? And then William is like, that's impossible that she has AB blood type when I'm type O. I'm a professor. I know these things, right? And so he's just looking like, what's going on? But he still doesn't seem like right then and there that he's putting it together, right? But he's like, I need to know what's going on. I need to know what's going on. But Geneva is just sitting there like with a startled look on her face, right? But I do not understand how Geneva is so smart, but she did not think like, yo, the doctor really spent at least like 30 seconds trying to get Geneva to the side. And Geneva's like, no, anything that we could do, my husband could come with me. No, Geneva, you need to go to the side and handle your business, okay? Because William does not deserve to find out right then and there in front of everybody that Anika is not his baby. Like, oh my God, that little baby is Javon's baby, right? I mean, I know we kind of suspected it, right? Because William and Geneva were trying to have a baby for a long time. I mean, these people were college sweethearts. They were together 20 plus years, right? So and the baby is only 5 years old. So they were trying, they were together a while before they were even able to have a baby. And it matches the timeline of when Geneva and Javon were having their affair. But anyway, like, I think that's one of the worst things that a man could go through, right? Just finding out that you've been caring for this baby. You love this baby. And William is such a great dad. Just to find out that that's not his baby, that is so heartbreaking to me, right? That is the worst thing ever, right? So that's how the episode ends off, y'all. Ends off on a cliffhanger, right? So we don't know what's gonna happen. I'm in my head thinking like, is there any way that could still be William's kid? Like, is this a mix-up somehow? Because we know how Tyler Perry do his cliffhangers, right? He have you thinking left and he going all the way right? So I'm just hoping like, is it some way that could still be William's baby? Some kind of mix-up, right? But anyway, poor William, right? And Geneva just, oh my God, like she's a lot. She's a lot. But again, I want to know more about her story too, because I need to know what was happening with her and William back 5-6 years ago when she conceived this baby. But I still do. I give Geneva a little bit of a benefit of a doubt, right? Just an inch, right? Because I do want to know what her and William were going through at that time, right? Like, it's no excuse to like trick him and you don't know the identity of your baby's fathers. But still, I do want to know more about what they were going through at that time. Were they going through, a tumultuous time? I know, again, when you're trying to have a baby and you can't conceive, that is very stressful on a marriage, okay? So I want to know more about Geneva's backstory too. But nonetheless, guys, this series I'm locked in. Like, episode 8 was good. So I don't know when we're going to see episode 9. Hopefully it's not more than a month or two, but I am invested, y'all. Tell me what you think down below, and tell me at this point, who is your favorite character? Me, I'm still gravitating towards Rashida. That is my girl. But anyway, guys, I will see you on the next video. If you watch All the Queen's Men, I will be reviewing that too, so stay tuned. See you next time. Peace.